I would like you to still take a lead from the gender perspective in leadership. If you have any stats you would like to share with us about how and why, not just why, but how we can begin to implore and encourage more women to participate in leadership. Must we use a quota system, or what are incentives or more? Please.
Well, I primarily think that it's tokenism to simply give people positions based on gender. I'm a woman, but don't give me the job if I'm incompetent, if I don't have the character, and if I don't have the capacity to do the work. Because whether you like it or not, Africa is still a very patriarchal environment and society. And so we need the very best of our women stepping forward into public leadership.
Stepping forward.
Yes, because what you have is one woman fails and then you simply generalize that because that one woman failed, more women shouldn't get the opportunity. Society cannot raise the moral standards for women higher than for the men. Okay. That's number one. Number two is, I look at the COVID-19 pandemic, and the first 10 countries that were able to quickly, react and contain the pandemic, all those 10 countries have all female presidents.
Is there a reason why?
Because there's a direct connection between cognitive ability, the cognitive ability of a woman, and the complete capacity of a human being. The body of a woman, and in terms of the entire biological system, what a woman is able to respond to will take a man maybe another 48 hours. And I don't say that to denigrate men. No. People know that I'm someone who believes in equal opportunity. In fact, I believe that we need more he for she's. I go into the room playing like a man and winning like a woman because I see men as my collaborators, not my competitors. And I think that's extremely important because men would be men in spite of whatever. And you don't want to go into the room as a combative woman who comes across to the men as if you want to be condescending towards them. African men would be typically what they would be. I want to also draw attention to the fact that countries that data has begun to show that countries that are putting more girls into schools are experiencing a higher level of development than the ones who are putting more boys into schools. Number one. Number two. Number three, I want to look at, so I'm the chairperson for the Victim Support Fund COVID-19 Task Force. Okay. And we're building boreholes in 54 secondary schools in 18 states across all the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. In all those 54 secondary schools, at least 80% of them have female principals. In those schools where you would see that the pumps are not stolen and a few things are done better than the others, the women are principals. Women are typically more attentive to detail. Women are better managers. And I want you to also check the indices of states in Nigeria that have female deputy governors. When you are a deputy governor, it doesn't make you second fiddle. It means that to a considerable extent, a man has delegated a responsibility to you. And he understands that in his absence, you will take that responsibility. Now, finally, I want to talk about countries like Mauritius. I want to talk about the fact that when you think about women in politics, you think about a country like Liberia. You think about countries like Iceland, where women decided in 1974 to fight for equal pay. All right? And 90% of the women refused to go to work. That country first elected the first woman president in the world, and that country was the first country to pass the equal pay law in the world. Then you think about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in Liberia, how she wanted to run for president, and Bernice Freeman was trying to speak to market women to vote for her. And boys would take the white panties of a woman, stain it with tomato paste, and say that women are nothing but beyond their menstruation. Research showed that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf won that election by over 50% because the women stole the voters' cards of their husbands and bought beer for them a day to election.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know any society that can go into its complete full potential, operating with only 50% of its human capacity. We've moved on to a stage of our lives as a world where the wealth of nations is beginning to get calibrated into the quality of our human capital. Nigeria would never rise beyond the capacity of the people inside it. So you can build as many schools. If you don't train the teachers, the children are never going to be competitive. You can build great offices and set up fancy 10-story buildings. If you put a dumb CEO with a team of people without basic common sense, that business would never move to the next level. I want to say that when we think about gender equality, I'd like to think about equity in the workplace. I'd like to think about the fact that women like me have stopped buying my daughter baby dolls. I buy my daughter machine guns. I buy her motor cars.
Thank you.
Because I need her to understand that girls don't have to be cooks, caterers, or nurses. They can be engineers, pilots, artificial intelligence
and
experts.
State governors. Thank you very much,
Toyosi.
Thank you.